I feel like it's fair to say that the Seattle Seahawks had one of the most interesting free agencies this season. It all started off with the Seahawks cutting Tyler Lockett, and then on the same day, DK Metcalf requesting a trade from the team. Ironically, whenever that happened, I actually made a Seattle Seahawks rebuild. But then shortly after that, they traded their quarterback Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round draft pick. At this point, it kind of looked like they were entering a rebuild. We didn't know who their quarterback was going to be. Their only receiving threat was JSN, and they were still dealing with a pretty mediocre offensive line. However, the Seattle Seahawks then gave Sam Darnold a 3-year, $100.5 million contract and signed Cooper Kupp and Demarcus Lawrence both out of free agency as well. They had other small additions like Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Josh Jones as well. They extended their linebacker Ernest Jones and didn't lose too many important players from their roster in free agency. I do think some of the moves they made were questionable. Geno Smith played decent in the Seattle offense, and I think he could have done a lot better if they didn't have arguably the worst interior offensive line in the league. And I think something we saw out of Sam Darnold in the last 2 weeks of last season is that he struggles when he's under pressure, so I don't see how he's not going to struggle behind this Seahawks offensive line, who hasn't really made any moves to make the offensive line any better. Definitely some interesting moves, but I don't hate it. So for today, we're going to be rebuilding the Seattle Seahawks in Madden 25 with Sam Darnold and the rest of their free agency signing. If you enjoy, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe right now, you could have a chance to win a free NFL jersey, which we will get more into at the end of the video. But for now, please enjoy. So here we have the team in Madden 25. As I said earlier, the interior offensive line needs a lot of work, but we now have Cooper Kupp as a second receiving option on this team. We have two good running backs in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I think if we can make this offensive line better, this could be a very good offense. I don't hate the defense as well. Uchenna Nwosu and Demarcus Lawrence will be coming off the edge for us, and we'll have Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams both in the interior. We have a pretty good young secondary in Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. I like Julian Love as well. So there are a few small holes on this team, but I do think we are just a few good signings and draft picks away from making this a very good roster. Now, most of the free agents that are available here have already been re-signed by other teams, but there are a few that have not been claimed yet, like Justin Simmons, David Bakhtiari, Stephon Gilmore, and a few other players as well. One of those being Cam Robinson, who the Vikings actually traded for once Christian Darrisaw went down with an injury. I don't think Cam Robinson is a great tackle, but I do think this is somebody that we could pick up and potentially move to guard, and he could be a long-term guard for us and really help us beef up this interior offensive line. The Minnesota Vikings have also yet to re-sign Stephon Gilmore. This is somebody we could go for to complete the secondary and add one more veteran guy and help our defense just a little bit more this season. And then I made Marquez Valdes-Scantling a punter so we could give him his contract because he didn't re-sign in free agency. But yeah, so we're going to go for Cam Robinson. We're going to be moving him into guard if we do get him, and we're going to go for Stephon Gilmore as well, who we're currently tied for the top offer for with the Lions. And then we're obviously going to try to bring Marquez Valdes-Scantling in because this is one of their free agency acquisitions. So let's go ahead and send these offers through. It looks like Cam Robinson did sign and we did get him. Stephon Gilmore is getting more offers. We are still currently tied for the top offer. I do think he'll probably go to Detroit, which he does. That wasn't too important of a signing to me anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. By the way, some of the other free agents and things like that won't be completely perfect and accurate because it's just hard to make it all perfectly accurate in Madden franchise. So as we saw Trey Smith sign with the Texans, there will be a few other players that don't end up on teams that they went to in real life, but that's just how it goes. I'm going to go adjust everybody's contract to be their exact contracts in real life, and then we'll hop into the draft. So I believe I got most of the contracts perfect for now. Now we did go 4-13 in the sim, so I need to make sure we get the correct pick, which is going to be number 18, and then I'll get us our extra second rounder for DK and our extra third rounder for Geno as well once we get into the draft. Okay, I didn't get the draft picks exactly perfect, but I got all the first 3 rounds as close as I could. Seattle's supposed to have 18, 50, 52, 82, and 92. I got us 18, 48, 50, 72, and 82. They have a 4th rounder, which is a comp pick, which I'm not worried about. And then they have 2 5th round comp picks as well, which we don't have here, and we should have 2 7th rounders as well. None of that is very important to me. I'm just glad that I got as close as I could to those 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks. I want to try to keep it as realistic as I possibly can. Getting everything close to perfect is a lot harder than you guys would expect, so if you're watching right now, please leave a like and subscribe because it's a lot of work. Anyways, we are now ready to hop into the NFL draft. In the first round here, I really don't know what I plan on going with. I think with us having MVS and having Cooper Kupp, we don't really need a receiver. However, Cooper Kupp is older, so drafting another receiver wouldn't be a terrible idea, but I think first priority definitely needs to be addressing this offensive line. Will Campbell is still available. I highly doubt he's going to fall to Seattle's pick, so I'm not going to be taking him. I will go ahead and take Tyler Booker. The interior offensive line is the problem with this offensive line. He's only 21 years old out of Alabama, 6'5" with elite strength. Tyler Booker was great for Alabama. I think he could be great for Seattle as well. We're going to go ahead and pick up a 21-year-old stud offensive lineman in Tyler Booker, who of course has hidden dev. Then we have 2 picks here in the 2nd round. We could use an upgrade at safety, and Nick Emenwari is still available, only 21 21 years old out of South Carolina with elite speed, A tackling, B play rec, A hit power. I think this could be a good pick to add to our defense. So we're going to go ahead and pick up another 21-year-old stud, ranked 39 in true value and another hidden dev. And then I wouldn't hate going receiver here at pick number 50. And Kyron Lacy is actually still available. I like Kyron Lacy. He is 23 years old, A medium route, B release, B short route. Let's go ahead and add Kyron Lacy. I don't think he'll do much here in his first year, but when we lose Cooper Kupp or if we lose MVS, we will have another receiver to fall back on in Kyron Lacy. Only normal dev, but he is 23 years old. I think that's a pretty decent pick. And then we'll have 2 picks in the 3rd round, and then we'll let the CPU handle the rest of the draft. Antoine Powell-Ryland is still available. He's only 22 years old out of Virginia Tech. Our pass rushers are decent, but Demarcus Lawrence is on the older side, and he has A power moves, A pursuit, B block shedding, B awareness. I think this is a really good value pick for the 3rd round, so we're going to go ahead and take him. 63 in true value, another normal dev, but once again, I don't really think he'll be a starter in his first year. And then with our last pick in the 3rd round, we'll go with Eli Cox out of Kentucky, try to add one more piece to this interior offensive line. Nothing too great, but having a pretty good rookie to be rotated in the offensive line I think will be helpful, so Eli Cox is going to be the pick here. Ranked 161 in true value, not a very good value pick, but again, he's just going to be getting rotated in, and we'll let the CPU handle the rest. I think that was a pretty successful draft. We're able to add some needs while also trying to add some positions that we can fall back on to replace our older players in the future. Looking back at the draft recap, I really do like our draft. We got a 75 overall left guard, only 21 years old, who's going to be a starter. I think Emin Wari will be a starter as well. Kyron Lacy probably won't, but he'll definitely get some targets. And then I think Ryland will get some reps as well. So yeah, we're going to try to turn Cam Robinson here into a little bit of a Mekhi Becton project. Switch him over to guard. He actually goes up in overall at guard. And just like that, our offensive line looks a lot better for Sam Darnold. And the offense as a whole honestly looks pretty good. I do think in the future we're going to need to replace Noah Fant. Same with Cooper Kupp. I also just remembered that Marquez Valdes-Scantling is still a punter. So let me make him a receiver real quick. Also, everybody's blabbering over this Marquez Valdes-Scantling MVP thing. Like how a lot of his teammates have won the Super Bowl MVP or the MVP. Let's be real, Sam Darnold's not winning no MVP in Seattle. And then defensively, we have Uchenna Nwosu, we have Boye Mafe, we have Demarcus Lawrence. I like our interior D-line as well. Secondary looks good. Do we start Emin Wari over Rashawn Jenkins? I mean, Rashawn Jenkins is 31. It might not even be a bad idea to try to trade him and see if maybe we could get some value out of him, especially since this is the last year of his deal. But we could also just start him in Wari and have Jenkins playing a little bit of sub linebacker. I actually like that idea a little bit more. So I need to adjust the specialist in the depth chart a little bit, but then after that, we'll be ready to hop into year number 1 here. All right, we are all ready to hop into year number 1. I honestly think we made the roster pretty good for the first season. I'm going to set the season goal for 7 wins because I don't know if we're a playoff team just yet, but if we can manage to make the playoffs this year, that would be great. And I think now that we've kind of addressed the interior offensive line, we should set our focus scout to be cornerback and receiver because we do have good corners, but I do think we could use just one more. And then Cooper Kupp is older, and then outside of him, we really only have JSN. So scouting receiver should be very helpful for this season. Let's go ahead and get to the mid-season of year number 1, and let's check in with how the team is doing. And wow, we are 6-1 at the mid-season. We have the 4th scoring offense, the 2nd scoring defense. We have the 3rd offense in passing yards and the 4th offense in rushing yards. Our team is balling out as of right now. Sam Darnold's 3rd in the league in passing yards, has 17 touchdowns to only 1 interception. Kenneth Walker's averaging 5 yards a carry with 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp already has 600 yards on the year and 5 touchdowns. JSN with almost 503 touchdowns. Kyron Lacy is doing pretty good as a rookie as well. And we already have 7.5 sacks out of Leonard Williams and 5 out of Demarcus Lawrence on the defensive side of the ball. We are playing some damn good football right now. Let's go ahead and check in with any players that are ready to re-sign at this midseason. We need to re-sign Kenneth Walker, Tariq Woolen, Abraham Lucas, Noah Fant. Not too many important players because I think I'm okay with moving on from Noah Fant and possibly Draymond Jones as well. I would like to bring back Abraham Lucas, Tariq Woolen, and Kenneth Walker, though. We'll start off with Kenneth Walker. I'll give him a 4-year, $42 million deal, which he accepts. Tariq Woolen is another player I would love to have back. I'll give him a 4-year deal worth $52 million, which he also accepts. He resigns. And then Abraham Lucas, we'll bring him back as well. I'm going to give him a 3-year deal worth $37.5 million, which he takes. And then I think we're going to come look back at the rest of these re-signings at the end of the season. I think we're going to go ahead and set the focus position to wide receiver. I do think getting one more receiving threat in this year's draft could be very valuable to the team. And just like that, we're ready to get to the end of year 1. We're sitting at 6-1 right now. If we can keep this up, we could potentially be the 1 seed. And I think we have 3 very winnable games coming up. against Cleveland, Tampa Bay, and the Saints. So let's get to the end of the season and see how this team did. And we finished the year 13-4, coming off of 2 straight losses going into the playoffs, but definitely a very good season for Sam Darnold's first year as a starting quarterback in Seattle. But losing the last 3 games in blowout fashion is something that Sam Darnold is very likely to do anyways, I know from experience as a Vikings fan. But let's check out the seasons for the year. Sam Darnold finishes top 10 in passing yards with over 4,200 yards, threw 42 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions. That is a fantastic year out of Sam Darnold. Kenneth Walker with 1,500 rushing yards, averaged over 5 yards a carry and got in the end zone 11 times. That is a great season out of Kenneth Walker. Cooper Kupp gets almost 1,500 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns. Starting to look like LA made a mistake moving on from him. We got 1,000 yards out of JSN as well and 11 touchdowns. And Kyron Lacy was pretty good as a rookie as well, 730 yards and 4 touchdowns for him. Ernest Jones is going to lead the team in tackles this year with 108. He also had 3 TFLs and an interception. Our sack leader was Demarcus Lawrence with 12. He had 8 TFLs as well, 9.5 sacks out of Leonard Williams, 7.5 out of Boye Mafe, and 7.5 out of Byron Murphy. Then we got 3 picks out of Witherspoon, 2 out of Mafe, 2 out of Tariq Woolen, and then 1 out of a few other players. I think everybody played great this season, honestly, and Sam Darnold was definitely an MVP candidate. He finishes in 6th place, which is crazy because he put up insane numbers. But it's going to go to Jalen Hurts this year. Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC is going to go to Saquon Barkley. Puka's in 2nd. And with those numbers from Cooper Kupp, we finished 5th in Offensive Player of the Year. I definitely expect it to be higher. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Aiden Hutchinson. He basically wins it every single time in the NFC. We did not get any votes for Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Luther Burden, who went to the Cowboys. We came in 5th with Kyron Lacy. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to James Pierce, who went to the Saints. We came in 8th with Nick Emenwari. Definitely a successful season. I don't like that we're coming into the playoffs off of 2 pretty much blowout losses, but we're taking on Dallas here in the wild card round. We're going to be playing at home. They had the 6th scoring offense this year, but the 11th scoring defense. So our offenses were very comparable, but our defense was a lot better. So I think we should win this game against Dallas. We won 3 more games in the regular season, and we're playing at home. Let's go ahead and send to the divisional round and see if we can beat the Cowboys here. And honestly, I would complain that we lost that game because I think we were a better team. But if this was real life, if we were coming into the playoffs off of 2 blowout losses like that, I just think it'd be hard to bounce back and beat a team like Dallas in the playoffs. Pretty much what happened to Minnesota this year, but let's go ahead and get into year number 2. It looks like the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year against the Detroit Lions. Josh Allen gets himself his first Super Bowl and his first Super Bowl MVP. Although Sam Darnold didn't win MVP, I think it's fair to say he could have potentially gotten a dev trade upgrade anyway with how good of a season he had, which he did, going up to superstar. That is huge. Offensive line looks great. I'm so glad that we addressed this offensive line ASAP. Kenneth Walker's up to a 96 overall with morale, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling is down to a 68 overall. Defensively, Boye Mafe, I want to say he was normal dev, which means he goes up to star dev. Emenwari's up to a 78 overall. Defense honestly looks pretty good. I think if we could add 1 more corner to this group, that would be best case scenario. So let's go ahead and check in with the re-signings that we missed during the mid-season. I don't know if I want to bring back Noah Fant. There's a chance that there's a better tight end in free agency. And if there's not, we could always try to bring him back then. JSN's 5th year is $25 million, which is expensive, but by the time it comes to re-sign him, I think we're going to have to pay him probably more than this per year. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up and try to push off that contract for another year. If I sounded like an idiot while trying to say that's because I was holding in a burp. But same goes for Devin Witherspoon. We're going to pick up his 5th year as well. Noah Fant, we are going to let hit the market. Draymond Jones, I don't think is doing much for us at this point. Boye Mafe had a decent season, and this was a pretty affordable deal. I will gladly give him 3 years, $25 million, and he does accept. And then I want to say pretty much everybody else here I'm content with losing. I would re-sign Michael Dixon, but I really don't feel like getting rejected by a punter right now. Not very good for the self-esteem. So let's go ahead and hop into free agency. Hopefully there's a good tight end, maybe a middle linebacker. I think those are the 2 most important things we could add to this roster right now. So let's see who's available here in free agency. James Cook is available. We really don't need him. Getting Jameson Williams, he'd be the wide receiver 3 right now, or he'd technically be the wide receiver 2, but as Cooper Kupp ages and we lose him, he could be a very good receiver for the team. This really isn't what I was expecting to do, but I think getting Jameson Williams would be really big. Danielle Hunter's a free agent. I never see that happen. I mean, our pass rushers aren't crazy. Do we go for Danielle Hunter instead? I'm going to look around free agency, make some offers, and I will show you guys everybody that we make an offer to. All right, I know this seems a little unorthodox with us just re-signing Boye Mafe. So I definitely made a mistake there. I should have done the same thing that I did with Noah Fant and kind of just seen what free agency was looking like. That does remind me that I need to try to get a tight end as well. And we're just going to bring in Josh Oliver to be like a Band-Aid fix and also try to draft a tight end this year. But we're the leading offer for Danielle Hunter. I think bringing him in and having him and Demarcus Lawrence both coming off the edge will be huge for this team. So let's go ahead. Let's send these offers through to both of these players. And we get Danielle Hunter, we get Josh Oliver. I don't think Josh Oliver will be our starting tight end going into the season. We'll probably try to draft one, but if not, we do have a Band-Aid solution now, and after a 13-4 season, we just made our defense even better. I do wish I wouldn't have re-signed Boye Mafe, though. I definitely made a mistake. But we didn't re-sign Boye Mafe for that much. it shouldn't be that much of a cap hit to try to move on from him, honestly. Actually, now that I think about it, Demarcus Lawrence is like 34 years old. So we can just have Boye Mafe getting rotated in the pass rush right now. And then when we do lose Demarcus Lawrence, it gives us like a year or two to try to replace him, and Boye Mafe can be the starter at that point. So I think we didn't mess up that bad. The defense looks very good. So we're going to go ahead and hop into the draft here. I'm not going to trade up or down or anything like that. We're just going to stick and pick, see what falls to us. I did focus scout a few players, and we did not end up getting Jameson Williams in free agency. So if there is a good receiver that falls to us here at pick number 24, I don't think that I'll hesitate to take them. And there is a round 1 talent still available. However, there is a top 5 talent corner. It is weird taking a player that's projected to go this late, this early, but we know he's a top 5 talent. He has the same last name as me as well. Elite acceleration, elite change of direction, good speed, B zone, B press, B stamina, A man. This guy looks insane. If this guy ends up having normal dev, I'm going to be angry, but you know what I think I'm going to do actually? This could be risky. Jeremy Riles is projected to go above Doug Hillman, right? So we are going to take the receiver, and we are going to sim up until Jeremy Riles gets taken. Then the second he does, we're going to trade up to the next pick, and we're going to get Doug Hillman. Because I think both of those players would be very valuable to the team right now. So we're going to start off by taking Clifton McCann, 22 years old, out of Georgia. A spec catch, B short route, B medium route, B stamina. He looks pretty damn good. We're going to take Clifton McCann here. Ranked 17 in true value. Only has normal dev. Should have just taken the corner. Of course he has normal dev. But let's go ahead. We're going to sim pick by pick until the next corner gets taken, and that's when we're going to trade up. Okay, and Jeremy Riles just got selected by the New England Patriots. So this is the point where we're going to trade up. We're going to be trading up with the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to give the Titans our 4th and 5th round pick to move up to their high 2nd rounder, and we're going to take a top 5 talent corner in Doug Hillman. Doug Hillman, welcome to the Seattle Seahawks. He is 23. There's a slight chance this guy has normal dev, which will be really frustrating, but he's a top 5 talent. I have to take him. Ranked 4 in true value. He has hidden dev, 91 speed, 94 excel, 95 change of direction. And we were able to hold on to our 3rd round pick as well, so we'll still be able to draft in the 3rd round. We won't have a 4th and 5th rounder though, but I think that is so worth it to get a player at that skill level. Now I did say I was going to try to draft a tight end, and this guy doesn't look crazy, Clint Ward, but he looks decent, so I do think I'm going to take him. Great speed, great strength. He's a decent blocker. He's a decent route runner. He has B catch in traffic. This is kind of a reach. I'm going to admit that. I'm kind of just banking on him having a dev trait. Oh goodness, that was he does have a dev trait, but he was ranked 219 at true value. So definitely made a mistake. It is looking like Oliver's going to be the starting tight end for this season, but after a couple seasons with him, hopefully our hidden dev tight end will have enough morale that he can kind of just slip in and be the starting tight end, or in these next couple seasons, maybe there will be one available in free agency. Mark Andrews does normally hit the market at some point in this, so I do think we could get somebody like that eventually. But let's go ahead and take a look back at the draft recap. So we got a 75 overall receiver in the 1st round. He did have normal dev, but this guy might be good enough to be a starter year 1. Not 100% sure. I'm sure he'll get rotated in anyways. But we did draft a receiver last year. It's mainly just to have a replacement for Cooper Kupp. But then we got Doug Hillman trading up in the 2nd round and getting us a 79 overall hidden dev corner. I think that's a great pick. And let's go ahead and get year 2 underway. So here's how the offense looks going into year number 2. The tight end we drafted is such a low overall that it doesn't even show him on this screen. But yeah, McCann is going to be the 4th overall receiver because we did draft Kyron Lacey this last season, but who knows how much longer we have left with Cooper Kupp. McCann can kind of slip in and be a band-aid option whenever we do end up losing him. But the offense does look pretty good. I would say it looked a little bit better last year, but I don't think we took too much of a hit. And then defensively, we now have Danielle Hunter and Demarcus Lawrence. And then we added Doug Hillman to this corner group. I really like how our defense is looking. So I'm going to go ahead and mess with these specialists just a little bit, and then we'll be ready to hop in to year number 2 here. We do kind of need a linebacker, so I'm going to see if there's any just chilling in free agency. I will gladly take a 34-year-old CJ Mosley right now. So after getting 13 wins in year number 1, I'm going to go ahead and set our goal to make the playoffs this year. I'm not going to set it to win the Super Bowl because we did not even win a playoff game last year, but I do think we should be able to pretty easily make the playoffs here. And I really don't know what I want to scout. We do kind of have a pretty big hole at middle linebacker right now. And we could also use another tight end. So Terry Curtis, you're going to be our tier 3 scout. I don't think I've ever hired a tight end middle linebacker scout ever, but we're going to go ahead and sim to the midseason of year number 2, check in with the team, see how everybody's doing. Hopefully we can start off 6-1 again. That would be pretty cool. And we are sitting at 5-2 at the midseason. Another great start to the season. Sam Darnold with 1,600 passing yards, not balling as much as last season, 12 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, but I'll still take this. Kenneth Walker averaging over 4 yards a carry with 7 touchdowns. JSN with almost 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp with over 406 touchdowns. and Josh Oliver isn't doing terrible as his first year as a starting tight end. We are getting a lot of sacks on the defensive side of the ball. 6.5 out of Danielle Hunter, 4.5 out of Byron Murphy, 4 out of Demarcus Lawrence. I will definitely take that. So once again, everybody's playing good so far to start off the season. Let's see what players are ready to negotiate here at the midseason of year 2. We need to re-sign Charles Cross. We need to re-sign Zach Charbonnet, Derek Hall. Not too many important players. The only players here that I really want to bring back are going to be Leonard Williams and Charles Cross. We'll start off with Charles Cross. We don't have the most money right now, so I'm going to have to lower this a little bit. I'll offer him 3 years, $69 million, and he's not able to say yes right now, and we just don't have the money to offer to the rest of these guys. So we'll come back at the end of the season. If I need to restructure a deal or two to try to lock down Leonard Williams, I could. We'll just have to see. We'll use our national scouting focus on middle linebacker. I actually don't hate that because there are normally a few late round middle linebackers that are like round 1 talents. So if we could know what linebackers we could take in the later rounds, that'll be very valuable. But let's get to the end of year 2. Hopefully we keep this pace we're on and we are once again in the playoffs. All right, and we definitely finished this year a little weaker than last season. We are coming into the playoffs off another blowout loss to the Rams, but we are 10-7. We did win the division and we made the playoffs, so can I really complain? Sam Darnold threw for 4,200 yards this year, 35 touchdowns to 12 picks. He definitely had a better second half of the season. Kenneth Walker rushed for 1,100 yards, 4.4 per carry, and 11 touchdowns. It's looking like our offense was just a little bit underwhelming compared to our numbers last season. But Cooper Kupp still got 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. We got another 1,000-yard season out of JSN. He got in the end zone 7 times. 900 yards out of Kyron Lacey, 7 touchdowns out of him as well. We got 500 yards out of Josh Oliver, which I will definitely take. Defensively, Ernest Jones led the team in tackles again. He had 118. He had 6 TFLs and a pick as well. We got 13.5 sacks out of Danielle Hunter, 10 out of Byron Murphy, 9 out of Demarcus Lawrence, 5.5 out of Leonard Williams. We got 4 picks out of Devin Witherspoon, 2 out of Tyrese Knight, and then 1 out of a decent amount of players. MVP this season is going to go to Patrick Mahomes, a big shocker there. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Puka Nacua. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Micah Parsons. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Noah Payne for the Giants. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Antonio Derby for the Cardinals. So no yearly awards for us. But we have another wild card game to get into, another very hard one as well, going against the Lions. We are playing at home, but they had a better record, and they're a better overall. This is just looking like a game that we have no business winning, but let's send to the divisional and see if maybe we can get lucky. And no, we lose by 2 points, unfortunately. Honestly, with how that season went, I really didn't expect that season to be like our Super Bowl winning season or anything like that. It's just worrying me because players like Demarcus Lawrence are aging, Leonard Williams is aging. Like, we're kind of in our window now early where we're trying to win this Super Bowl. We could lose Cooper Kupp as well. And if we do lose some players like that this season, this upcoming offseason is going to be very challenging. Looks like the Lions actually went on to win the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, so we lost to the Super Bowl champion, so I can't be that mad. CJ Mosley retired, oh no. Cooper Kupp is still sticking around though, still sitting at an 86 overall X factor. He does have some morale though, but it does look like we did unfortunately lose Demarcus Lawrence, which is a good thing we re-signed Boye Mafe. I don't think we're going to draft a pass rusher this year or anything. Boye Mafe did decent whenever he was a starter. We'll leave it like that for now. Doug Hillman only having star dev does surprise me a little bit with him being a top 5 talent. I did expect him to have superstar X factor, but that is okay. I don't know if we're going to bring back Leonard Williams. I do need to take a look at the prospects because there was a guy that I did like that I focus scouted that I was looking at to be our Leonard Williams replacement. So I'll take a look at him, and if he seems pretty decent, we might not re-sign Leonard Williams here. Yeah, he's around 3 to 4 talent. I think we're going to bring back Leonard Williams. So let's get into these re-signings. We should have a little bit more money now that Demarcus Lawrence is gone. Charles Cross didn't accept our last offer, but to be fair, we did have to lower the money a little bit to try to afford him. I'm actually going to give him a 4-year deal worth $94 million, which he accepts. I will gladly take that. We have the 5th year for Byron Murphy. I think $21 million is going to be too much for him, so I'm actually not going to pick this up. I like Zach Charbonnet as the backup running back, but we only have $10 million left, and I'm not going to give $9 million of that to a backup running back. And then are we even able to afford Leonard Williams? We are not. So we're just going to hope a little bit of money frees up here when we send to free agency. If it's not the case, we're going to be a little bit worse this season, but that's okay. But normally a little bit will, so I do think we should be able to bring him back here. No, we only have $10 million. Oh boy. Oh, and Aiden Hutchinson's available. We couldn't really do much with Aiden Hutchinson anyways, like $41 million is crazy. So we're going to have a pretty quiet free agency. We're going to go for Marcus Davenport just to be a little bit of a Band-Aid fix for Leonard Williams. We'll see if we can try to address that position in the draft, but I just don't know how that's going to go exactly. We definitely took a pretty big hit this offseason, so we're going to need to have a pretty good draft here if you want to try to save this team. So going into the draft, I would like to get a tight end better than Josh Oliver. It looks like Eli Cox is actually going to be the starting center this year, so it wasn't a terrible pick. I don't like that he's going to be a starting center. We'll try to get one in one of the later rounds. I can't guarantee we will. Still got Cooper Kupp. Still got Kyron Lacey as well. So the receiving core is fine. And then we got Marcus Davenport on the defense. We could use one more defensive lineman. Now we did focus scout middle linebacker. Our middle linebackers aren't as weak as I thought, but Tyrese Knight is not going to get much better than he is right now with him being normal dev. So I still would not hate taking a middle linebacker in this draft, but we'll probably use a later round pick on it. So maybe this is where we go out and try to get a Leonard Williams replacement in the first round, and then We'll also try to upgrade tight end, but outside of that, I think we should be fine, and then we could try to get a center as well. So let's hop into the draft here, and let's see what we can do. So one of the day 3 tight ends that I focus scouted is actually around 1 to 2 talent, so we could take this guy in the 3rd or 4th round and have a pretty good rookie tight end this year. There's also around 1 to 2 talent middle linebacker that's a day 3 guy that we can hold out on drafting because it's not that much of a need right now. So I do think our 1st round pick should either be a center or a Leonard Williams replacement, and my favorite center is also a day 3 guy. So round 1 is definitely going to be where we try to replace Leonard Williams, and I think the guy we're going to go with is going to be Jonathan Beasley. He's a 314-pound run stopper, 6'6", a little bit of a different style than Leonard Williams, but he's going to be on the defensive line. A, block shedding, B, awareness, B, play rec. His power moves and finesse moves are really bad, so he's going to be very different from Leonard Williams. He's going to be a pure run stopper, but I don't think that'll be a terrible thing. So we're going to take a chance on Jonathan Beasley here in the 1st round. And that was a heavy reach, ranked 77 in true value, but he does have hidden dev. He should be a starter here in year number 1 with 88 strength, 80 acceleration. I do think we reached a little bit, but I don't hate the pick because he did have a dev trait, so that kind of saved me. Now, I kind of want to trade this 2nd round pick back and try to get an extra 3rd rounder so we can try to get all of those day 3 guys we were looking at, because I don't want to reach on them here in the 2nd round, but I also don't want to miss my opportunity to get them in day 3, to get them in the 3rd round. So I want to see what offers we can get for this 2nd round pick. So I'm going to trade my 2nd round pick for this season and my 4th from next season, and we're going to get Minnesota's 3rd and 4th for this year and their 3rd next season as well. They're going to go ahead and accept that. We got a few extra picks to work with in the 3rd round. We might miss out on like the center or the linebacker or the tight end, but I think we should be okay, especially with the center, because centers are very draftable in this game. I think the first person off the board we're going to take is going to be the round 1 to 2 talent tight end. And Darren Thomas, only 22 years old, great speed, and a lot of A's and a lot of B's. I think this is going to be a pretty good pick. He'll probably be ranked like 25 in true value. 50, I did not expect that at all, but he does have hidden dev, and I'll probably make him the starting tight end this season. Another reach, but that's okay with me because we got another dev trait, and we did add more draft capital for next season as well. And then we're going to reach on the middle linebacker as well because I like him and we could use him for the future. Or do we go with the center instead because he could be more valuable to us right now? This is a little more risky because we don't know if this guy's a round 1 talent or not, but he looks pretty good. He's only 22 out of Alabama, great strength and a lot of other good physicals. A, pass block finesse, B, pass block, A, run block finesse, and B, run block. I like him a lot. We're going to take Chris Rich here in the 3rd round. 67 in true value, not bad whatsoever, and he has hidden dev as well. So although we've kind of reached on all of these picks, they've all had dev traits and have not been terrible. So we need to pray that this middle linebacker is going to fall to us here in the 4th round. And he did not. Oh no. So we're actually going to have to reach on around 3 to 4 talent if we want our linebacker this year, which I'm not going to do to us. Now there is a pretty good outside linebacker that we could just move to middle linebacker, who is a pass coverage linebacker. He's 6'1", 22 years old, elite excel, change of direction, and speed. With A zone coverage, B play rec, A pursuit. I think Brendan Griggs is actually going to be very good as a rookie. Ranked 68 in true value. That was a very good value pick. Only normal dev, but he should get rotated in at sub linebacker a decent amount and put up some stats his rookie year, which is what we want. We'll let the CPU have the rest of the draft. We'll get ready for year 3. We still have yet to even win a playoff game. The NFC is just so hard, man. I definitely don't hate our draft, though. We got a 73 overall DN who's going to be replacing Leonard Williams. We got a 74 overall tight end in the 3rd round, a 73 overall center, and a 73 overall linebacker. The CPU actually went ahead and got us a 70 overall D end as well. So not a terrible draft. I do think we could have done a lot better, but we also were able to stack up a little extra draft capital for next year, getting ourselves a 3rd rounder. I'm sorry, Eli Cox, but you are not going to end up being the starting center. We're going to pass that over to Rich. We're going to start Thomas at tight end this year, and this is what the offense is going to be looking like going into year 3. If we can have Cooper Kupp give us one more season like he has the last 2, I think we'll be just fine offensively. And then defensively, I don't hate the defense. We added Beasley to the D-line. Boye Mafe is going to be a starter once again this season. The secondary looks good. And then we got Griggs in the draft as well, who will probably get rotated in here at sub linebacker. We don't have a kicker or a punter. I'll make sure to get us one of those. And as always, the specialists need to be messed with because this game's terrible. So I'll get us a kicker and a punter. I'll mess with the specialists, and then we'll hop into year 3. All right, we're ready to hop into year number 3. We're going to set the goal to make the playoffs once again. Once we win a playoff game, I will set the goal to win the Super Bowl, but we have yet to win a playoff game. And then I like Boye Mafe, but I don't think he's going to be a long-term edge rusher for us. So we're going to go ahead and scout DN and outside linebacker for this season. So we're ready to get into year number 3. Let's go to the midseason. We've been 5-2 and 6-1 at both midseason. So if we can start off good again, we should basically guarantee ourselves a spot in the playoffs. At this point, we're just questioning if we're ever going to win a playoff game. So let's get into this season and let's find out. And once again, we are incredible at the midseason, sitting at 5-1 with the 8th scoring offense and the 10th scoring defense. Sam Darnold with just over 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Kenneth Walker has taken a step back so far, but I think he'll do better in the second half of the season. He's averaging below 4 yards a carry and only has 3 rushing touchdowns. JSN with over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp with just under 500 yards and 8 receiving touchdowns. And Byron Murphy already has 9 sacks and 3 TFLs. That's beautiful. We have 23 players ready to re-sign. I'm sure we're going to have to spend a lot of money here at this midseason. We have $166 million. We need to bring back Devin Witherspoon, JSN, Sam Darnold, Byron Murphy, Julian Love, Cooper Kupp. And then after that, there's a pretty big drop-off in importance for players. But we definitely want to bring back Devin Witherspoon, only 26 years old. We're going to make sure that we get him right. We're going to give him 4 years, $86 million. And he does accept. JSN, we're going to make sure we get him right as well. We're going to give him a 4-year, $98 million deal, which actually isn't really getting him that right at all. That's like less than $25 million a year. But hey, if this game's going to suck, I'm going to take advantage. And also, it only wants me to pay Sam Darnold 2 years, $23 million. I'm going to up it a little bit, but if I make it realistic, like I think it's just going to throw off everything. So we're going to give him a 2-year, $29 million deal. I will gladly pay that to my quarterback. And that gives us some room to make sure we can lock down Byron Murphy. We're going to give him 4 years, $86 million, which he accepts. Now, Julian Love, I don't want to sign him for 2 years. I don't want to sign him for 3 years. I'll give him a 2-year deal for $28 million. And he doesn't accept. We offered him more money than we offered our quarterback, and he said no. Cooper Kupp, if he doesn't retire, we'll probably bring him back for 1 more year, and then we'll come back to the rest of these at the end of the season as well. But we actually have a decent amount of money to work with right now with this game sucking and only making me pay my quarterback $23 million. And then left in and both outside linebacker positions are both strengths of the class. So let's go ahead and go with outside linebacker because that'll scout both the right outside and the left outside linebackers, and we'll get a little bit of a benefit from that. So let's go ahead and get to the end of the season, and let's see how the team finishes. I'm not doing focus players this year. That's too much work. And wow, we had a rough second half of the season, only finishing 9-8, which was somehow enough to win the NFC West, but we just keep coming into the playoffs on these losing streaks, and that's just not going to help us. Sam Darnold with just under 4,000 passing yards on the year, 36 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. This is definitely a good stat line, which I will take any day of the week. Kenneth Walker got over 1,000 yards, 4.2 per carry, 12 touchdowns. I will take that. Cooper Kupp with 1,300 yards and 19 touchdowns. This could be his last season, but I'm glad that he finished it on a strong note. And JSN with 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. Kyron Lacy with almost 600 yards and 7 touchdowns as well. It looks like we're really only throwing it to Kupp and JSN. If you ever wonder why I don't show the offensive lineman numbers in these videos, it's because of like this. My rookie center, I get he's a rookie, but he's a center. He allowed 10 sacks. Defensively, Ernest Jones led the team in tackles again with 112. He had 5 TFLs, a sack, and 2 picks as well. We got 16 sacks out of Byron Murphy and 10 TFLs. He might go up to superstar this season. Only 4 sacks out of Danielle Hunter. Come on, man. 3.5 out of Davenport, 3 out of Boye Mafe. This was a rough season for everybody not named Byron Murphy. 3 picks out of Tyrese Knight, 2 out of Ernest Jones, 2 out of Devin Witherspoon, and 1 out of Doug Hillman. Your MVP this year is going to be Josh Allen. Your Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Cooper Kupp. No way! I did not expect that. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Nolan Smith. We came in 3rd with Byron Murphy. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to the Vikings, and Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to the Panthers. Well, we got another home playoff game. Are we going to go 0 for 3? We're going against the 10-7 Packers. We have the same overall team. They won 1 more game than us in the regular season. They had the number 1 offense in the league, but the last defense. This should be a pretty good game, pretty high scoring if this game knows how to, like, do things. But can we just get a playoff win, please? And no, we lose 38-35. I actually think that's a very realistic score for that game. But against the worst defense in the league, we can only put up 35, man. We're not going to win a single playoff game this video, are we? So you went from having Geno Smith and making like 1 playoff berth and losing, and then just being 9-8 and 10-7 every year and missing the playoffs. And then you went to Sam Darnold having basically the same record every year, making the playoffs, but losing every time. Looks like the Lions go back and beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. Oh, no, I read it wrong. Patrick Mahomes beats the Lions in the Super Bowl this year and gets himself another Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. And I'm assuming we lost a couple players to retirement this season. We did not. Cooper Kupp is sticking around for another season. But I am curious if we got any dev-ups. I really think Byron Murphy could have gone up to superstar this year. So no dev-ups on the offense, which I didn't really expect, so I'm fine with that. And Byron Murphy did not go up to superstar. Danielle Hunter is down to a 78 overall. That's rough. But Tariq Woolen went up to superstar, so I guess that's good. But we are going to need to get a pass rusher this season pretty bad. So we should be able to get one in the draft, hopefully. But hopefully there's some good ones in free agency because Danielle Hunter took a step back. We're going to have to make him like a rotational player. We have the 5th year for Tyler Booker. We'll go ahead and pick that up for $11 million. Julian Love did decline our last offer. He said he wanted a longer deal. I just don't. I'll raise his bonus a little bit and see if he takes 2 years, $29 million, which he does. We're probably going to need to find a replacement for him pretty soon. Cooper Kupp, I'll gladly bring you back for 1 year, $6.7 million. Tyrese Knight is not interested. We could try to draft his replacement, but he's only 27. I don't mind giving him a little bit more money, trying to sway him. We'll give him 3 years, $25.5 million, and he does take it. Cam Robinson, I'll bring back for one more season for $6.4 million, and then I think everybody else here we're going to be letting go of. So we're going to have a decent amount of money to work with in free agency. We need a good pass rusher to be available. If not, we're going to have to try to draft a pretty good one. Players just regress way too much in this game. I normally mess with the sliders. I think I forgot to adjust the sliders like I normally do. Oh boy, there are some really good free agents here. Let me shoot a couple offers around and I'll get back to y'all. Well, we are going to try to make this defense a lot better. We're going to try to bring in Jalen Carter, add him to the defensive line, and we're going to go for Nolan Smith to be one of our starting pass rushers this year. We are the leading offer for both players, so if we don't get both, my fist is going through my screen. Let's send these offers through. We got both players. This defense just got a lot better. I think that should help us this season. Let's go ahead and get to the draft. Now that we got Nolan Smith, I mean, I wouldn't hate drafting another pass rusher because Boye Mafe will still probably be a starter, and we don't need to draft a pass rusher that will be a starter necessarily, but somebody that could come in for Nolan Smith or Boye Mafe whenever they start regressing. After free agency, the offense looks basically the same, but I like our offense, so I'm not worried about that whatsoever. But defensively, we added Nolan Smith to be a pass rusher, and we added Jalen Carter to our very good defensive line. I'm thinking we should probably ship off Danielle Hunter going into this draft, try to get like a 4th rounder out of him, which I could get. And I think whenever he's 33, he's not going to be playing at a 78 overall level. Obviously, that's not how it works in real life. But so I don't think getting a 4th rounder from him is completely unrealistic. Danielle Hunter, you are a New York Giant. I just realized I accidentally got a 5th round pick instead, but I don't care. But yeah, let's take a look at what pass rushers are looking like here in this year's draft, because we don't have many needs outside of pass rushers. So I wouldn't hate trading up the board to get a good one. I mean, honestly, there's nobody too crazy. There's a round 1 talent speed rusher projected to fall to 26 to the Bills, so I really don't think we need to trade up or down this season. We're going to stick and pick. We're going to take a pass rusher. I do think here pretty soon we're going to need to work on addressing the offensive line because everybody is a little bit older, and we're going to start needing to replace those positions here pretty soon. But drafting offensive linemen is pretty easy, so I think in the 2nd round we could probably get a guard or a center or something. Or we don't need a center, but like a guard or a tackle. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take Forrest McCollum out of San Diego State. He is 23 years old, so I hope he doesn't have normal dev, but great speed with elite acceleration. A, finesse moves, B, block shedding, A, awareness. He probably won't be a starter this year, but he will be eventually. So we're going to go ahead and take Forrest McCollum here. Ranked 22 in true value, got him at 19, has hidden dev, that's a good pick. And then there's a pretty good guard available in the 2nd round in Randy Davidson. We're going to go ahead and pick him up, another player that probably won't be a starter this year, but could be valuable in the future. And that was actually a pretty bad pick. He was ranked like 100 in true value and didn't have a dev trade. So we do have 2 third rounders, I'm pretty sure, because I think we got one from Minnesota, and they actually ended up with the 2nd overall pick. So we got a pretty high third rounder. We still haven't drafted another middle linebacker. Maybe we do that. Honestly, my favorite linebacker isn't supposed to go till day 3, but I think I'm going to take him anyway. What I don't like is that he's a run stopper, and he has C to F block shedding. I don't know about that. I think let's just take the top guy on the board. Cole Riddick, another 23-year-old rookie we're going to be taking here, but B pursuit, B play rec, B catching, block shedding, awareness, and tackle. Looks pretty good all around. We'll go ahead and pick him up. 79 in true value, not terrible, and a hidden dev pick. I will take that. I think I'm honestly just, even though we have another third rounder, I'm just going to give the rest of the CPU. We're trying to wrap this video up. We probably got 2 years left max. Unless we win the Super Bowl this season, it'll probably be the last one. But I doubt that's going to happen. I just want to win a playoff game at this point. But definitely not the craziest draft. We did get a 75 overall pass rusher in the 1st round, which I will take any given day. We got a 72 overall guard, so this pick wasn't as bad as I thought. 73 overall middle linebacker. I shouldn't have let the CPU have this pick because they're terrible. They got a 71 overall running back, though. He can be the backup, I guess. So the offense has pretty much continued to look the same throughout this entire video, but the offense has been playing fine, so I'm okay with it. We still have Cooper Kupp around. We haven't had to replace him just yet, and Kyron Lacy's up to an 82 overall, so definitely not terrible. But we made this defense a lot better. We added Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter both in free agency. Byron Murphy's coming off a career year. The secondary looks good. Once again, don't have a kicker and a punter. And once again, the specialists are cooked. So I'll mess with the specialists. I'll get us a kicker and punter. We'll hop into year 4, which could potentially be the last season of the rebuild. All right, we are ready to hop into year number 4 with how good I think we made this defense this offseason. If our offense can play the way it's played the previous years, I think we should have an easy ride to the playoffs. We're actually getting the opening game against the Chiefs this year, so that's pretty cool. And then I honestly really don't know what to scout. This is probably going to be Cooper Kupp's last year, and Kyron Lacy hasn't developed like crazy or anything, and our safeties aren't too good, so we're going to go with safety and wide receiver, assuming we do end up having a draft next year, hopefully. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we just win the Super Bowl this year and I can end this video. But let's get to the midseason of year 4 and let's check in with the team. And another year where we start off insane and we are 5-2 at the midseason. Our defense isn't playing crazy, but we're playing pretty good. It's actually our pass defense that kind of sucks, which is probably just because our pass rush isn't great. But Sam Darnold is leading the league in passing yards with 2,016 touchdowns, but he has thrown 7 interceptions. Kenneth Walker averaging over 4 yards a carry, only has 2 touchdowns though, but almost 400 rushing yards. JSN with 500 yards and 8 touchdowns already. Kyron Lacy's kind of having a breakout season with 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp's definitely having a down year, but he's like 40 years old at this point, so I mean, who really cares? And Jalen Carter with 8 sacks and 4 TFLs already on the season. That was a great signing. I'm glad that we were able to pick him up. Wow, that's why he has so many sacks. He's coming off a game where he got 4 sacks. Jesus Christ. Whoever the Jets quarterback is did not have a good day. Anyways, let's see what players we need to re-sign here this midseason. We have $71 million to work with. We need to bring back Emin Worry. We'll go ahead and bring him back on a 4-year, $28 million deal, which he accepts. We need to re-sign Ernest Jones. He's been great. We'll give him a 4-year, $46 million deal, and he re-signs as well. Abraham Lucas, another player I want to bring back. We'll give him 2 years, $28 million, which he re-signs. Boye Mafe, we have his replacement. We don't need to re-sign him. And then we can come look back at all the rest of these at the end of the season as well. And then we're putting the national focus on receiver because no matter what happens, I do want to be drafting one. So let's go ahead and get to the end of year number 4. Hopefully we're in the playoffs. Hopefully we can win one playoff game and potentially make a Super Bowl push. Let's get to the end of the season. And we are actually guaranteed to make it to the divisional round for the first time because we just got the 1 seed in the NFC going 12-5. I just took a piss, and one thing I was thinking about is, one thing I don't do enough in rebuilds is trade 4 players at the midseason. For example, if my team's not very good at the midseason, I'm willing to trade away older players and try to build draft capital. But with seasons I've been having in this rebuild with the Seahawks where I'm starting off 5-2, 6-1, I shouldn't be hesitant to go out and trade for another player that I think could make the team even better. But let me stop yapping and let's look at these stats real quick. Sam Darnold finished 8th in the league in passing yards with 4,500 through 34 touchdowns to 12 picks. He's definitely regressing slowly, but he's not playing too terrible, so I'm okay with it. We did switch to a different playbook, if you can't tell by these numbers. Kenneth Walker goes under 1,000 yards, but he averaged almost 5 a carry and had 8 touchdowns. Kyron Lacy with a breakout year was actually our leading receiver with 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. Just under him was JSN, also with 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns. Darren Thomas with a breakout year as well, 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp definitely took a step back. We moved him out of the slot. He got 700 yards and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, Ernest Jones leads the team in tackles again with 120. 13 sacks out of Jalen Carter with 16 TFLs, 7.5 out of Nolan Smith, 6.5 out of Byron Murphy. Then we got 3 picks out of Doug Hillman, 2 out of Tariq Woolen, then 1 out of a few other players. Your MVP this season is going to go to Patrick Mahomes. Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Puka Nacua. Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Henry To'oTo'o. I always try to say this name and it's like To'oTo'o. I'm going to stop. We came in 3rd with Jalen Carter. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to the Niners. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to the Falcons. We are going to make it to the divisional round for once. Let's see who we will be taking on. We got the 1 seed. This is our chance. We still have yet to win a playoff game, though. Of course, we have to go against the Eagles, man. They did only go 9-8, but they had the number 5 scoring offense. Their defense wasn't much this year. We did take Jalen Carter from them. Jalen Carter revenge game. Maybe we're a higher overall. We're playing at home. We got more wins in the regular season. Please, God, I just want to win one playoff game, and we just keep barely losing. We lost by a field goal. I got one more season in me. I got one more. But like, bro, like this is a playoff team. Like, is it because we have Sam Darnold at quarterback? Maybe like Sam Darnold still yet to get a playoff win as a starting quarterback in this universe and in real life, but in this universe we're like 5 years in the future. So the Titans just won a Super Bowl with some guy named Logan Ramsey. They did beat the Eagles, so we just keep losing to the team in the playoffs that ends up making the Super Bowl. I just want one playoff win at this point. That'll be a success. We're going to do one more season. We're going to try to get one playoff win under our belt. I wonder if Cooper Kupp retired. And no, Cooper Kupp is still here on the roster. He probably won't want much money. I'll probably re-sign him just for shits and giggles, but we will probably try to upgrade at receiver. And Kyron Lacy's up to an 86 overall now. Defensively, Jalen Carter's up to a 98. Nolan Smith developed a little bit. Julian Love's going to get superstar, but we didn't develop like crazy that season. Let's see what players we missed out on re-signing at the midseason. We have $37 million left to work with. We don't need to bring back Boye Mafe. I want our rookie to start this year, or I guess he won't be a rookie anymore. Kyron Lacy did have a good season, so I'll bring him back for 2 years, $14 million, and he takes it. We'll let McCann go. We'll let Powell Ryland go. We'll let Brian Robinson go. I mean, Cooper Kupp is basically asking for nothing, so I'll give him 1 year, $4.5 million. Why not? And then we'll re-sign Cam Robinson for 1 year, $5 million as well. And that's going to leave us about $20 million to work with in free agency. If there's somebody I really want, like a very good receiver or something like that, or a very good pass rusher, I know I said I wanted that guy we drafted last year to start, but if there's a really good one, I'm not going to hesitate to take it. I will restructure deals, and I will make sure that we get the best free agency class possible. And as I say that, Xavier Worthy is sitting here staring me in my face. and Josh Hines Allen. Xavier Worthy wants $34 million a year. This is the last season anyway. Let's completely ruin this team's future, and let's see what deals we can restructure. We're actually able to free up a pretty decent amount of money. We're sitting at $65 million right now, so I think we need to make a splash here and just try to see how good we can make this team. So we're going to try to get Xavier Worthy in free agency. We're going to try to bring in Josh Hines Allen as well. Like I said earlier, I know I said I wanted that guy we drafted to start, but if we can get somebody like Josh Hines Allen, why wouldn't we? And then I gave George Kittle like the worst offer ever. He'd be our starting tight end, but it's not the end of the world if we don't get him. But I do think we should get Worthy and Josh Hines Allen here. We'll send these offers through. They both sign. Is George Kittle going to get any other offers, or is there a chance he falls to us? We'll never know, or we will know once we sim to the draft. But let's sim to the draft. I wouldn't hate, honestly, like trading away our first-round pick maybe and trying to add maybe just one more piece to this team. I mean, we're already this good. We just made the team a lot better in free agency as well. Our defense is about to be nasty, and we added Xavier Worthy to this receiving core, and we also got George Kittle. So our receiving core is now 99 overall Xavier Worthy. We have 98 overall JSN, 86 overall Kyron Lacey, and an old-ass washed-up Cooper Kupp. We still got Kenneth Walker and Sam Darnold, and we just added George Kittle in free agency as well. And defensively, we have Jalen Carter and Josh Allen. So we're going to have Josh Allen and Nolan Smith both coming off the edge, Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones in the middle of the field, and Byron Murphy and Jalen Carter on the interior with a great secondary. Like, what do we even trade for here? Maybe try to get like a better free safety. Like, is that even worth it? So it actually won't let me trade during draft day because it's just always bugged with the salary cap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade my day one picks back for picks for next year. And then I'm going to use those picks to trade for a player once the season starts because this game's just so terrible. Bears are offering us a first and second next year for my first round pick. And then the Bills are offering me a 2 and a 3 for next year for the second rounder. And then we're going to simulate the rest of this draft. We'll let the CPU handle it. We're going to trade. I'm trying to trade for Antoine Winfield, and both of the teams could afford it. But then it was like, this will put us over the salary cap if we accept this, so we're not going to, even though they could afford it. It was just draft day, so the game can't process it because this is a billion-dollar company that can't make a good game. So we're going to trade Julian Love and a first-round draft pick for Antoine Winfield. And now here is the roster we're working with. We added Xavier Worthy to this receiving core that Sam Darnold's working with. JSN's up to a 97 overall. We also added George Kittle. Looks like the CPU added an extra offensive lineman in the draft this year. And then we now have Josh Hines Allen and Nolan Smith coming off the edge. We still have Jalen Carter. Byron Murphy's been playing great. And we just added Antoine Winfield to the secondary. Sam Darnold is regressing a little bit. So if he doesn't put up the craziest numbers and we miss the playoffs, that'll probably be why. We're going to go ahead and sim straight to the playoffs here. We're sitting at a 91 overall team before the season has even started. We are most definitely the highest overall team in the league. We went all out for this season. We restructured every deal to get good free agents. And then we traded a first round pick to acquire Antoine Winfield. We've made the playoffs every season so far in this rebuild, but have yet to win a playoff game. So we should realistically make the playoffs once again. It's just going to come down to if we can win that playoff game. In case anyone here was curious, the Bears, a 90 overall. The Bengals are a 90 overall. Few 87s, few 88s, few 89s out there. There's like another 90 overall somewhere. I think it was Pittsburgh. They have a 90 overall team. I mean, oh yeah, and we're a 92 overall, which is, you know, the highest overall in the league. So you would think our record would be pretty good, right? Such a good game made by such a good company. It's just awesome. I mean, Sam Darnold was regressing and he threw a lot of interceptions, but 18 with all the weapons we gave him, cool. Kenneth Walker was good. He just didn't get many carries, so we can't blame him. JSN went off. Kyron Lacey was good. George Kittle was good. Xavier Worthy was good. I mean, he is a 97 overall who only got 700 yards, but, I mean, we had 2 double-digit sackers. Josh Hines Allen got 9. We got a decent amount of picks on the year. Like, I mean, we had the 16th offense in yards. I'm using the Bills playbook, which is normally very good. Apparently, it's not because the Bills aren't doing very good here. The Bills actually had one of the worst offenses in the league, but clearly it wasn't the playbook because we just got the 1 seed with the playbook. But I just made my team a 92 overall. The highest overall has been all video. And we go 6-11. You know, that's going to unfortunately have to be it for this video. I did everything I could. I mean, I just made a God Squad. But regardless, I do hope you guys enjoyed. I guess Seahawks fans, you don't have anything to look forward to in your future. You're not going to win any playoff games, so don't get your hopes up. All jokes aside, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe right now, you could have a chance to win a free NFL jersey. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel and take a screenshot and send it to me on Instagram, which will be at the top of the screen right now. There will also be a link in the description you can click on. And if I get a screenshot of you being one of the first 1,000 subscribers to the channel, you're entered to a giveaway for a free NFL jersey, which will be announced when we do hit 1,000. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to comment any teams you would like to see me rebuild next. That's all for this one. Deuces. This game is out.
by the frame, and he can't paint. Take both lanes, coming on the way, down in the hole. Gotta maintain, slide in the rain, dice on the road, chinchilla coat, shells and smoke, butterfly dose.